All right, I'm going to hit record.
Okay.
Record to the cloud. All right, I think we're going. All right, welcome to 30 Days of CLI. I'm Carrie Lee, and I've been doing CLI a long time, but you know, it's Monday, so bear with me. I'm sure I'm going to screw some things up. So let me get started with screen share. All right. Can y'all see what I see? 30 Days of CLI here?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So, see, if you're not familiar with command line interface, a little bit of history. Way back in the days of yore, when you started a computer, you didn't have a graphical interface. It looked like this. It was text. That's all you saw. You didn't have little login boxes. You didn't have buttons to click. Everything was done with your keyboard. So you might ask yourself, why would you use the command line nowadays? The short answer is it gives you power and it gives you speed and accessibility to things that are maybe a little bit more difficult to get a hold of from a GUI. Y'all do understand what I mean when I say GUI, right? A graphical user interface. Yeah, cool, okay. So this is just an additional tool in your tool belt. Knowing how to use the command line is going to open up a lot more opportunities for you. So to start, you can access the command line on a Mac or on a Windows. Command line is kind of native to Linux, so you're not going to have a lot of choice there. Toanne, let me stop sharing the screen really quick and let you, there it is. Sorry, I have 3 windows going on here. Toanne, do you want to go ahead and share how to do this on a Mac, how to access command line?
I gotta unmute, and you can do it a couple different ways. If you guys have a Mac, you cannot minimize Zoom while you're recording. Okay, fine. You can do the spotlight in your, can you guys see my desktop? Yes, okay. Yeah. You could, there's a spotlight search. You could do terminal, and then you could do that and open it that way. Or I always kind of have it at the bottom of in my menu bar, and you could do it that way too. Whatever's easier for you. I'm gonna make it big, and I'm gonna bump up the font. So this little squiggly line is my prompt. You could change your colors, you could customize, but that's my prompt. And Carolee, what do you want me to show them, like where I'm at? So where you're at in your computer, when you're looking at your desktop, it's a GUI interface. It's a nice folder. It has nice icons for you to click on. This one, you're going to navigate strictly by typing commands. So I'm going to do print working directory, pwd, and it says my root, I'm in the user, and my user that I'm using is Tuantran, which is the one that I always use. And then I could be like, okay, I want to change directory into my desktop. And if you do tab, if you type in the first like couple letters and do tab, it will autofill what the closest folder or something that's similar to that word. So it says, okay, I want to change directory into my desktop. And if I enter or hit return on a Mac, it says my terminal prompt is set up to always tell me where I'm at. So I don't have to do pwd, but do you see it says, okay, you're in your user, you're under the username Tuantran, and you're in your desktop. This is the current directory or main folder that I'm in. That's how I set up my bash, my terminal, to tell me what folder I'm always in, so I know where I'm at. So if you look in my desktop, you could list all your files and your folders. You can list all your folders that you're looking at. So I'm just going to do this real quick. ls is the command, and it says list your folders, and it says the only folder you have on your desktop is main. So let's look at that, okay? So right here, the only folder I have is called main right here. Do you see it? I cleaned up my desktop just for this today because it normally does not look like this. You're probably like, wow, it's so clean. She's got one folder on her desktop. That's not how it normally is. So I have one folder called main. So if you look in my terminal, you're like, oh, you only have this. How do you think I navigate? How do I step into this folder and look at it? You guys could put it in the chat. You could yell it out. And if you don't know, that's okay. So I'm going to change my directory to go into my main folder. I'm going to step into this folder, CD main. And now my prompt is telling me now you're in the main folder. And then if I want to list out everything that's in my main folder, do you guys remember what I just did? I'm going to do list, ls. And in this folder, I have a whole bunch of stuff. I just shoved everything in this main folder. And let's say I want to clear my screen because this is really messy and ugly. I'm just going to type in clear because I just want to go back to my main folder. What if I want to step out of this folder and back to my desktop? So in the terminal, you could do change directory and you could do dot to step out of it. Step out of it and go to the next main folder that you're in. And now I'm back into my desktop. So that's just a very basic navigation of getting into a folder, getting into a directory. A directory and a folder are the same thing. So if I say folder, in terminal terms, it's called a directory. Does that make sense? Folder equals, I can't do equals a directory. Directory. Is that how you spell it? Directory. That's not how you spell directory. Directory. So let's say I want to step out of my desktop and go to the next level up. I would do the same thing. CD ... to get out and step into my next folder. And now I'm back into my root main folder. And if I'm not quite sure where I'm at, you could always do pwd, print working directory. And it says, oh, you're in user and you're in the TwanTran directory folder. So that's a really basic stepping into a folder, stepping out of a folder, how to navigate into folders. Carolee, do you want me to talk about how to make a new folder and how to make a new file and how to step into those?
Or do you want to do that? I've got a whole script. So
okay, I'm going to stop and then I'm going to let Carolee screen share on her Windows. Screen share. Okay. Am I out? Am I still screen sharing?
You are.
You're good.
Okay.
All right, so back on this, if you're on Windows, it's a little bit different. You actually have 3 different ways to access a command line. This first one on the left is your command prompt, and that's if you go down to where the Windows button is and where it says type here to search, if you're on Windows 10, that little space right there, you can type in cmd or cmd.exe. I don't know if y'all can see that. No?
Maybe bump it up, the font. Can you bump up the font a little bit?
Oh, did it show up?
Yeah,
it
did.
pop up, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I could see it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all you type is cmd or cmd.exe, either one will work. And basically you're going to get this right here. PowerShell is a Windows particular shell scripting language, and it seems to be DOS based, but that's what you're also getting in the command prompt. The way to get a bash shell is actually the best way I found is to use Ubuntu for the Windows subsystem for Linux. To do that, there's directions right here. And I think I've got it where I can somewhere. Maybe not. Where did that chat window go? Oh, there we go. There's chat. There it is. Okay, chat window. There's the link to get to it. And that's got directions on how to make sure that you've got everything that you need. You have to install the Windows subsystem for Linux, but then Ubuntu itself is in the Windows Store.
And it's worth it getting to know that. If you are able, if you have the time, download it, mess around with it. Yeah, the link didn't get sent, Carrie Lee.
It's not
in the chat.
I saw you put it in there. Did you send it to us?
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know,
sent
maybe-
it
Send it
to
to everyone.
you sent it to me. You sent it only to me.
But yes, if you
Well, I
have a
can't
Windows
get-
machine.
Where is this chat? There it is. God dang. Okay. Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Look at me.
Everyone.
Okay, there you go.
There it is.
Try it out.
Monday.
Yeah,
Give it a shot.
it's Monday, Thursday. Definitely try it out. I know personally, because I use Windows machines for years, and I only started using Terminal on the Mac just a couple years ago. Like Toanne actually had to hold my hand through the whole thing because I was like freaking out that I was going to destroy my machine. She's like, "No, Carly, you're going to be fine." Get to know it, because in this field, it doesn't matter if you're in cyber or your software, it will become extremely handy just to have a base knowledge. Definitely try it out.
Yeah, definitely. When I was working in the industry a couple of years ago, there were people who liked to develop on Macs or on Windows, but most of us were on Linux. And it was just easier that way because all of the tools that we needed were right there, easy to access. But if you were running the Ubuntu shell on your Windows machine, a lot of it would also be easy to access that way too. So that third window right there, that is what you're going to see when you open up Ubuntu for Windows. Runs Bash. That's what we're going to learn today. What we've already been learning a little bit of. Ubuntu is the name of a specific distribution of Linux. The instructions that link again will walk you through the process of getting Ubuntu on your Windows machine. I haven't heard of any other distribution being available for Windows, but it's fine because Ubuntu is the best. It's the loveliest. So once you have a command line interface, you need to know about Bash. It's based on the Bourne shell. Bourne shell was the original shell created for Unix way back in like the 70s or something. Bash isn't too different. It's kind of like a Bourne on steroids. There are other shells out there like Corn shell, C shell. They're similar, but it's not difficult to go from one to another. But we're still going to focus on Bash. Oh, you know what? I think I got ahead of myself. Yeah. There you go.
Okay.
So in short, the command line gives you more power over files, directories, scripts, programs, and system level tasks. You'll use a terminal window to access the shell. You'll use bash commands in the terminal. You can also write bash shell scripts in a file. So when you get the hang of CLI and you know you want to automate some things, it's a piece of cake to create a shell script and even tell the system to automatically execute that script at a specific time. So for example, I want to zip all of the files in this one directory every Saturday at 2 a.m. and put it on the cloud. Done. You can do that very easily with Bash. All right, let me stop sharing because I think I need to share a different window now.
Does anybody have any questions about any of those terms? I know it took me a while to figure out what is a script. Does anybody have any questions about any of those terms or need another additional explanation?
Let's see here.
Do we need to be using Ubuntu today for this, or can we use the basic command line to do today's stuff and then download Ubuntu and play with it and get for next week?
So you don't have Bash on your regular ones, like the command one is going to run DOS. So they are a little bit different. For example, when Toanne was using ls to list the files, you would use dir on that one to list your files. So same ideas, but some of the things are different. Some of them are the same, but some of them are different.
But should I be downloading all this like right now during this thing, or
You don't have to. Again, you can follow along and then watch this later if you need to. You can take notes. You can see if it works. If it doesn't work in the regular command shell, it's just going to give you an error. So
How long does it take to set up, Carly?
it didn't take me very long at all. It was like 5 minutes. It was a pretty fast thing, but I have Windows 10, so I don't know if that helped making some of the installation easier.
And we want the Ubuntu desktop, not the Ubuntu server. Am I right? When we're going to do the download?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I think the server would let you actually run a server itself.
Okay. Yeah, because I can see like I would need hand holding from Toa as well, because it says download Ubuntu desktop and replace your current operating system, whether it's Windows or Macs, or run Ubuntu alongside it. And I'm like, crap, I'm in the middle of a Zoom and I got stuff tomorrow. I can't replace everything. Okay.
No,
So if I
yeah.
downloaded it, it's not going to kill me.
Let me go back and make sure that I've got the right thing, because when I did it, it was literally just go into the Windows Store and then download it, and then it ran fine. It just like another program on my desktop.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think this is the Windows Store, because this is ubuntu.com tutorials, Ubuntu on Windows, hashtag download. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, let me go double check all of that and make sure. I do remember I did follow those instructions, and I did have to download the Windows subsystem. But I will go double check.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Danielle has a question. Do we need to enable Linux to run Ubuntu?
Enable Linux.
So I guess maybe that's the wrong terminology, because I tried to install it and then it gave me an error saying the Windows subsystem for Linux optional component is not enabled. Please enable it. Try again.
I would be curious if you just go into the Windows Store and try downloading the Microsoft.
I did get it. So your link took me to, I then clicked, like, what did I click? I clicked wonderful, I forget how to pronounce it. Terminal is freely available for Windows 10. I clicked freely available, took me to the Windows website, get it for free, took open Microsoft Store and downloaded it from the Microsoft Store. And then it threw that error.
Do you feel comfortable screen sharing and so we can look at it?
Sure. So
Okay,
I'm downloading it again. Okay, so did that. This is what it did.
Press any key to continue.
Okay. Yeah, so you do need the Windows subsystem for Linux.
Is that a different link?
That was the link at the
The first link?
Chat. The link that's in the link in the chat.
Oh, it is?
It should be. Let me make sure I got the right link. Because it's Monday. Yeah.
And you know what's strange, you guys? When we do these things, we've done these years ago when we do setup. So sometimes it's a lot different when you guys are doing setup. So it's good to see this because we want to make sure it's going to work.
Well, and there's 3 different Ubuntu things to download from the store, and the one, there's an orange and 2 blues, and the orange is the 18.04 LTS.
Okay.
Okay, so Windows 10 needs to be updated to include the Windows 10 Fall Creators Update released 2017. This includes the Windows subsystem for Linux, which is needed to run the Ubuntu terminal.
So you have to check that.
Okay, so on the enable WSL, after overview and requirements, it says enable WSL.
Yeah.
So you have to open up a PowerShell, and that's just in your start menu.
And then the CMD.
PowerShell. Yeah, it's under Windows PowerShell.
There we go.
And then I click that.
Or
You're gonna
copy
copy,
that command.
And then
Copy
yeah,
all
then
that.
but then it says to restart Windows 10, which I did not remember.
Then I guess I'll finish it later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is good to know.
Error,
So,
permissions are required. Turn
Okay,
on
so when you close
yeah.
PowerShell, and then when you go to start it again, right click it instead of left click it,
Oh, because I wasn't in the
and
admin.
run as administrator.
there you go.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Okay, and then I don't need to do this one, or do I?
Enable May 2020.
No, with the different ones are for different.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Because that's you did WSL 1 and there's WSL 2.
Okay. So then once we're all done,
Mhm.
I'll restart my computer.
And
Well,
then
it
you can
might-
go get a boot for Windows.
I wonder if it would work though. Sometimes it will
Oh.
work.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you just give it a try.
Who's on?
Do you got her?
No, I won't.
I'm
Okay.
glad.
Yeah, you probably have to restart it just
Okay.
to get it working.
Okay.
But that's good to know.
That is good to
Thank you,
know.
ladies. I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Danny.
Yeah.
No kidding, because Danny, I just got the same message, and because I went to the app store to download it, and I just got the exact same message. So thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Okay, good. So
Yay.
now we know.
Yeah.
You have to copy that into your command line and put that in.
Has anybody else tried it yet? Addition, like,
Now's the time. Try it, download it, and so
Yeah.
we could help you. We could troubleshoot with you.
absolutely.
See, this is why you guys get a Mac. You don't have to do any of that.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just joking.
Just spend $3,000 on another computer. That's all. You know.
I mean, come on now.
Right. Okay. And so now I'm like, okay, but I was downloading and not paying attention to what y'all did with Danny. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to go back to the website, the link, right? And then download.
We're on number 3 where it says enable WSL. That's your Windows subsystem for Linux.
Yes.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it won't
Right.
let you install it until after you restart after. Yeah.
But you could get the stuff going.
You
On
can
number
go through
3,
and
it
run
says,
that.
wait, on number 3, it says enable. Wait a minute. Where is the number?
Enable
3?
WSL.
Do you want to screen share, Mercedes? Then we could tell you.
Yeah, hold on here. Oh, where's my, how am I? There we go. No, wait, here we go.
If anybody's joining late, we're just talking about how to set up a Windows PowerShell in your bash. And it looks like based on Windows 10, you need to do an extra step that we were unaware of. So this is what
Yeah.
Mercedes is. You have to download it. And then when you're going through the steps, you have to copy something into your command line.
Okay, and what am I supposed to copy on my command line?
That's from the number 3, enable WSL. That page will have 2 things. To enable WSL 1,
Okay, was that the chat pot? I totally was focused on the download and not paying attention.
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
yeah, in the chat.
Okay, so let me pause share so I can go to the chat thing and then do that. Or stop sharing. Can I do that? So this one right here, the dsm.exe online enable feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
See.
And you'll need to run that in PowerShell, Windows PowerShell.
As opposed to the Ubuntu.
Yeah, you don't have Ubuntu on there yet. So what you'll do is you'll go into your start menu,
Yeah.
scroll all the way down to Windows PowerShell. And you'll click on it. You should have, I have 4 options on mine.
I do. Yeah, 4 hours.
Okay, then right click on Windows PowerShell and run as administrator.
Got it. Okay. Yes, I want to make changes. Stop asking me these things. Okay, there we go. And now Control V, and then
Just paste in that dism.exe.
deployment imaging service and management tool, image version. That's all I'm getting. Enabling features. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's going to take some.
So it's just enabling features, and then that's all I'm getting right now. Is that okay while it's bouncing underneath?
Yeah, that's, and then it should be you'll reboot after it's done, or
After
you
the
know,
Zoom.
after this is done, and then you can put Ubuntu on there, and you should be able to get a shell up, no problem.
Okay, awesome. I will probably be rewatching this with some coffee later on, going, oh, okay, now.
And I'm in Slack too. You can always, oh my God, what the hell?
Right?
Just
Okay,
put
thank you.
something in there. What is it? What did you do?
Right.
I also just
Share.
created a channel in Slack. So we can put screenshots of all of these instructions just to make sure it's easy to follow. We'll put in a Slack channel. It's going to be 30 days of CLI. I just put it in the chat. So if you have a Slack login, and just go to that channel in the MilSpouse Coders place, and just look for 30 days of CLI.
Thank you.
Okay, we all good? We're gonna move on, and then you could rewatch it later if you have any questions.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and go through the commands now. All right, so this is my terminal. Really quick, you can see on Ubuntu here, this is my username, Kale Grady. On this machine, my machine's name is MSI. This tilde means I'm in my home directory. And then this means I'm just using a regular user. I'm not doing a super user access right now. Don't need that kind of prompt. It's just a regular prompt. So the first thing that we can do is use ls, which stands for list. You can see that looks like a hot mess and you can't tell what's going on there. So we're going to use options, or also called switches sometimes. My favorite is ls-al. That is listing all files, including hidden files, and long listing format. So you'll get this instead. So this is a whole lot of information too. This first thing right here, either a D or a dash. D means it's a directory. Dash means it's a file. The RWX and dash is all in here. This is who has access to those files. So the first three are your access, then it's your group's access, and then it's the world's access. So that means I have read and write access to the string.cpp, but I don't have execute on it. Anybody else who accesses my stuff can read that file, but they can't write or execute it. So Kale Grady is the name of the user for that file. That's the group for the file. They're both the same on this one. This is the size of the file in bytes. And then this date is the date of last access. So a lot of information there, but it can be really, really handy sometimes. If it starts with a period, it's going to be a hidden file. So again, you're not going to see .local when you just do a regular ls. All of those are hidden files. All right, so if you want to know what else you can do, I noticed, was it Sharon earlier used ls-alt? You can find out what those other options are with man, which stands for manual, like user manual. So you say man ls, and here you're going to have all of the options that you can use for the ls command. So really easy, and then use your space bar to space through and Q to quit. You can use that again for any command at all. So let's see. Next one, PWD, which Toann went through. That is print working directory. It means the path to the working directory where you are right now at the moment. So you can figure out where you went. If you're lost somewhere in some kind of directory tree structure, you CD'd your way down and you're like, I have no idea now. You can figure it out by doing PWD. So just like in DOS, you can CD out and into directories. So again, CD ... that goes up one directory. So the parent directory for the one that you're in. And again, I'm in home, Kale Grady. So if I go up, I should be in home. And you can see also that right here, the home means that my location has changed. There are a couple of ways that you can get back. If you are completely lost in some kind of directory tree and you just want to get back to your home directory, there's a couple of ways to do that. You can type CD by itself, and that will take you home. You can also type CD tilde, because tilde stands for home, just like you can see right here. CD tilde will also take you home. Let's see. Okay, if you want to go to the very top directory, the root directory, that is always /. That is your topmost directory. And you can see all of the wonderful directories and files that are in your root directory. All right, so to make a directory, you do make dir, and then you name the directory. So now you can list it and see my new dir is right here. To make a file, you can go a couple of ways, but my favorite way is if you just want to make it without having to open it in an editor is touch. And there it is right there. And you'll see it's 0 bytes because there's nothing in it. I just touched it. If my new file had already existed and I touched it, that would just change the timestamp. It wouldn't do anything else to the file, just change the timestamp. Let's see what else. All right, if you want to get rid of that file, any guesses on how you would do that? I think I saw chat pop up, but I didn't see you go.
Yes, Mercedes says in GUI speak, if you make a directory this way, when you go back to see what everyone else sees, you will see what a folder with that new directory in the label. Correct.
So it would look, if you open up like your Windows Explorer, you would see that new directory in there like a file, like everything else. You would see a file sitting there and it would just be empty. There'd be nothing to it.
And that's one thing you can do when you get, for the Windows users, once you get the Ubuntu on your machine, try doing that. Be like right there in the desktop and make a directory, and then look for the window or look for the folder to pop up, and you'll see that you can create it. Then you can create the file. You see the file create. That's how I learned. I learned visually that way, and I was able to associate one thing with the other.
Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do, is try to associate with what I already know so that it doesn't look so scary with the black and white.
Yeah, the black and white is scary.
It is. All right. So again, if we wanted to remove something, delete a file, you use RM for remove. And that was my new file, I think. Yeah. So now if we do, my new file is gone. You can see it's not here anymore. Oh, if you want to look at what's in a readable file, you can use cat, which stands for concatenate. And if you say cat with one file, it's going to list the contents of that file. So that's all the contents of that one file right there. If you say cat and have two files, it's going to concatenate the contents. So you'll get your two files and they'll all be output to the screen just like it did here. So when you say cat with just one file name, it's going to do the same thing just with the one file. If you list 5 files, it's going to list 5 files like that for you all at the same time on the screen.
Hey, Kirli, back to
Yes.
the remove.
Uh-huh.
I do want to note that when you remove something while you're at the command line, there is no trash can. You
Yes.
can't recover it. It's
Thank you.
permanent.
Yeah.
So that's really, really, really important to know. So if you're unsure if you're deleting the right thing, I would do it from your desktop until you become more familiar with this. Because when you remove from the command line, there's like, it's done. It's like, you're done. So you can't recover it. But you can recover when you're within your GUI and it takes stuff out to your trash can, unless you empty your.
If you're on a Linux machine, a neat little way to do this, you can kind of simulate that idea by creating a recycle bin in your home directory, and then you can just move that file there with
a really good idea because it's
the
not.
move command.
I've never done that.
Yeah, so you can
Also,
just move, let's say, make dir recycle. I'm going to move this 4.c into recycle. So you do move, the name of the file you want to move, and then the directory, the location you want it to go to.
That's a really
And
good
now
idea. I
talking
never do
to
that
here.
either. When I remove stuff, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's done.
So it's in my recycle now.
Mhm.
So you
I
can do that. And then at the end of the day, if you really don't need that file, you can go back and delete, or you can write a cron job to automatically delete everything in your recycle bin for you.
She's getting so fancy.
You said con job?
Cron, C-R-O-N.
Oh, I thought you said con job. I'm like, oh, that's a new
That's
Jason
also
Bourne
fun,
thing,
but
right?
no, in Linux or in Bash, it would be a cron job. You do cron tabs.
I don't even do that.
I
So I
put-
go to my recycle bin and my GUI.
I put a bunch of the cheat sheets, and then I put a diagram of the way that the file structure is in like Linux when you're like trying to figure out, because sometimes I'm a visual person and I need it to see the actual visual file system for me to understand it. So that might help. I put it in the Slack channel in case anybody just wants to look at it later to try to make it all make sense together, I guess.
Thank you.
Find it actually.
And if you're not in Slack, I did post, you might have to scroll up in the chat, but there is an invite. If you're not in Slack, click that link and you can join the
It's so
MilSpouse Coder Slack
tiny.
channel.
If you want to, like, I keep like a good cheat sheet like on my computer somewhere, or I like look them up. Like Linux cheat sheets are awesome because you only use so many commands over and over again, so sometimes you can
It's
forget
true.
the other
Mhm.
one. So I think the cheat sheets are like the way to go.
Okay, so there is that file again, and you'll notice that that scrolls by way too fast. You can come back up, but sometimes it's limited on your window how much you can see back. So the best thing to do is to paginate your output, and you can do that with more. And then you can go just like with our man command earlier when we used the space bar. You can do that to space through each page, and then Q when you want out of it. But another option is less, and less is actually what man uses. So let me show you what happens here. So you can still use your space bar to go one page at a time, but you can also use your up arrow to go one line at a time, or your down arrow. So that's what happens if you use man. You can actually use your arrow keys to go up or down one line at a time, or you can use your space bar to go a whole page at a time. And again, Q to quit. All right, so that was a lot. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was a lot, especially if this is your first time seeing a command line. So, or let's go through a couple of exercises here, and I'll let you guys unmute yourselves and shout out if you know what to do. Remember, if you're going through this again, you're playing with anything, you've heard of a command, you don't know exactly what it does, what can you use to look up its use and any options it has?
The manual man.
Manual, yes, man. Get the man page, absolutely. All right. Let's try some practice. So how do I go to my home directory? Say I'm up here. How do I get back home now? I can do CD and hit enter. Remember, CD without anything else will take you to your home directory.
Carolee?
So now hello?
Hi, sorry. When you're doing this example, let's make it something that's so people understand a little bit easier. Let's say like you make your new directory called house, and each directory is a room in your house. How do you step into these rooms? Can you do an example like that?
Sure. So let's make dir house. So that makes the directory or the folder house. And I wish I could show you guys on my computer what this looks like in the Explorer window, but unfortunately, the Ubuntu system puts all of this data in a really weird place, and it's always hard for me to find.
Oh,
So
I could
one
do
of these
that.
days I'm gonna,
We could do that with a Mac. You could do it
it
in
would be
terminal.
easier to do that with a Mac. Yeah.
Do you want me to do it, Car, or do you want to do it?
Either way.
You know, actually, my desktop is really clean. Let me do it. I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah, mine's a mess.
I cleaned up my desktop specifically for this.
I've got 1,000 things on it.
Okay, let's, yes. So what Carolee is talking about, can you guys see my desktop? Yes? Okay, so I only have one folder here, right? So we're going to use that same example. We're going to make a directory called house. And then it should pop up onto my desktop. Where is it? Where did it go? Where is it? Oh, I'm not, you know what, guys? Guess where I'm at?
Because you're in your username.
I'm in
You're
my
not your
username.
desktop.
So I'm going to have to remove that. Anyways, wait. Did I do that? Anyways, it's fine. Okay, let's do it again. So I'm going to navigate to my desktop. So now I'm in my desktop. I'm going to make a new directory called house. And there it is. Do you guys see it? It popped up. Okay. Now, how do I get into my house? I'm going to change my directory into my house. I'm going to list, and there's nothing in my house. So let's make some rooms. Make door kitchen, make door living room, make door master bedroom, make door, oops, make directory, what's family room? What else should I make? Bathroom. Okay, so if I clear this out, and now I list what I have in my house. These are the rooms I have in my house. Okay.
Open the folder so they can see all that.
Oh. You guys see that?
See?
Boom. Okay. How do I step into the bathroom? If I'm in
CD.
my house, yep, CD what though? CD. Do I have to type bathroom or do I just type in CD? You have to navigate to that
Bathroom.
room. Bathroom, correct. Let's list it, and I have nothing in my bathroom. Let's make a folder. Touch. What am I going to call this?
You're gonna make a file.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to make a file. And I'm going to, what should I call this one?
Sync.
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 There you
So
go.
this is a file, okay?
Mhm.
So now if I look into my bathroom, I have a sync file. Nothing's there. Do we talk about how to open a file? What do you guys think? How do I open the
Just
sync
do
file? You would
We
normally,
just had talked about a cat to see what's in it.
yeah,
So if you
do.
cat sync right now, it's gonna output
Have
nothing,
nothing.
right? 'Cause there's
Yeah, 'cause
nothing in there.
Mhm.
but let's say I want to open my sync. It will open a notepad. Hi, I am the sync. Save it. So now if I cat sync,
Yeah.
there you go.
Now there are ways to edit that file within the command line where you're not opening up a
Correct.
notepad document.
Yes.
And those are also useful techniques that
Mhm.
I use more now. What Vim and what's the other one?
Probably the easiest for someone who's never
Maybe
used
Echo.
Echo's gonna print. If you use
Yeah.
Nano, N-A-N-O,
Nano. I'm like, what's the other?
that's one of the easiest ones because it's a
Yeah.
lot of,
Yeah.
so all of those on the bottom, it just says Control J to justify, Control W to where it is.
Mhm.
So that's what all that means.
Control X to exit.
That's right.
No, I always forget. I always have to Google this. Do you know that? Like, how do I get out of this?
Mhm.
I always get stuck. And then I'm like, wait, abort mission.
How can I X out of this?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry. This is doing.
But when you exit, usually it'll ask you to save upon
Mm-hmm.
exit.
Wait, how
So
do I-
But I'm with you, Carly. Vim is the best.
I do like Vim.
It is the best. I actually started using it when it was still just VI, so I have trouble
You forget
calling it.
it.
Okay, so there's that. Yes, terminate. Thank you. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to terminate that. Let's see where I'm at. So I closed out my terminal by accident. So how do I go back to where I'm at? What if I don't know where I'm at? What would I type?
PWD.
Print working to operate. Okay, so now I want to go back to my desktop, change into my desktop. And if I already know my root of my whole thing, I could just type in house because I know my folder is on my desktop and it's called house. So that's the good thing about working within your machine. You typically know what you call everything more or less. Unless I couldn't remember, I remember it's house and then they autofill it for me like, okay. And let's step
With the
in.
tab key.
Yeah. Let's go into the master bedroom. How do I go into the master bedroom? Do you guys remember how to do this?
I think
CD.
CD master. And if you type in the first couple of letters and hit tab, on a Mac at least, it will autofill it for you.
it does it in Bash.
Okay. Cat master. I don't have anything in here. List. Nope. So let's create a new file. Touch bed. And then if you look in the master bedroom, there's a new bed file.
I think you should get rid of that bed and you're going to replace it with a king size bed.
Okay, good. So let's remove it. Remove bed. Do you see how it just disappeared? It's gone. And I didn't create a recycle bin, so it has nowhere to go. It's just done.
It's gone.
Just
forever.
Straight up donated it
It's
to
gone.
Salvation Army. It's gone. You can never have it back. You're
Yeah,
getting
it's
a new
gone.
one.
It's gone. But that's a really good idea. I like that idea of creating a recycle bin and putting all your stuff in there. You
I
know,
forget.
I'm actually going to do that right now. Should I put it in house or should I put it on my desktop? I already have a recycle. I'll put it in here. Make dir recycle. So I can move things. Okay. So let's go back into the master bedroom. You know what? Actually, let's clear this out. Let's go to the master bedroom. Let's do a king bed. Because, you know, and there it is. And do you guys remember how to open a file or how to add text to a file without double clicking on it? Without doing that? So Carly talked about one way. You could do Nano or you could do Vim. Vim, does this work? So there's that. You could do Vim too. And when you type it automatically it will start automatically inserting things. I am a king bed. And then I'm going to quit, Control X. Wait, what is it again?
You have to escape first to go into
Escape
command mode.
and then Shift Q. Dang it.
You do WQ to save and quit.
Yeah. What? Right.
Q.
Quick. Yeah. And this is where Google would be very, very handy. If you are practicing this stuff in your folder or your directory in your little pretend house environment, and you're stuck, like, how am I doing this? How do I edit? Go to Google and look up, how do I use Vim in?
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Here, I'll show you guys right now. How to use Vim. Like if I forget, which I do all the time.
Yeah.
You just just Google how to use Vim.
Or Nano.
Don't want all that. So right here.
Yeah.
Tip, escape switches to normal mode. So I hit escape and then press the colon key followed by, and it should look
That
like
quits without saving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want
The
to save.
exclamation point. Yeah. So just Q.
So WQ.
Right here.
I'll do that.
WQ.
Colon WQ.
WQ. Not what? Why is this not working? WQ. Why is this not working, guys? What? I hit escape.
Just type WQ. Don't
Yeah.
do that. What, are you doing escape?
I did.
Because you're
yeah.
already in command mode. So all you have to do is type WQ now. Yeah, you got it.
There we go. Okay, I was like, what? What's going on? But yeah, you just literally you could do how to just use Vim, or what do we use? How to use Nano.
Mhm.
Whatever you prefer to use. And then you just click on something and it tells you,
Mhm.
oh, do this. So anyways.
And you'll get used to using, like when you're in these terminals, these command prompts, you can only use the arrows. You'll find like you want to try to use your mouse to click on something and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that happens too.
it happens to me all the time. I'm like trying to click on something in like maybe I've got a command and a really long command and I type one thing wrong. Well, you can't use your mouse to go back into the middle of it and fix it. You got to arrow back, arrow. You're moving back in order to fix it. So that might catch you up a couple times. It's arrows and keys only when you're in the command.
Do you guys want to see anything else? That's like a really basic how to navigate in and out, how to create files, how to create directories, how to remove files. Do you guys want to see anything else? Maybe not. I'll stop
That's a
screen
great
sharing.
start.
Yeah, that was a lot. That's a lot of information.
Mm-hmm. We've got a document with some cheat sheet commands, and I know Autumn put some in the Slack channel. Look them over. Do what Toann did, and once you're able to get all this set up on your machine, especially if you have a Windows machine, get that Ubuntu up and running. We'll get those instructions and put those in Slack. But just practice like that. Create your house. Create your folders, your directories. Add some files in there. Try editing those. Just get that stuff under your fingertips, and then everything will start coming together. We can move on to more advanced stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like,
want to share one more thing.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Maybe not.
But a good exercise is like the one that I just did: build a house, build rooms, put things in files, build a grocery store, build different aisles, fruit aisle, poultry aisle, produce aisle, and just add different lists in there and see if you know how to navigate in and out. And it makes more sense if it's a physical idea. Like files and folders are just kind of abstract sometimes, but if you put it to like an actual house or like a building, it makes more sense when you're stepping into something.
Okay, so what I wanted to show, this one last thing is going to save you keystrokes, especially if you get to a point where you have a really long command or a really long path name and you screwed something up in there and just need to change something. There's a thing called history, and it literally holds the history of everything that you have typed on the command line in here. So that means that you can literally use your up arrow to go back in your history and access all of those. Another really cool thing, if I know the last thing that I did with RM, well, let's do cat. I want to do the last cat command that I did. If you start with a bang, the exclamation mark cat, it's going to execute the last time you did cat. So it should tell us my new file.log. And there it is. So up arrows are great for accessing the history of your commands. And then using the bang can help you if you have something way a long time ago, but you remember the last thing you did was what you want to do again. You can start with the bang and just start the name of your command and it'll pick it up. That's it.
That's a really good one too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Are there any questions?
Carly, do you want to do an overview of what we're going to do next week real quick? Just a preview of Overwire so they understand why we had to teach them how to navigate through files.
Absolutely. So we wanted to teach you guys the basics of all this stuff because we're going to do something fun with it. Instead of
going to
just
be fun.
messing around with our computer, we're going to start working with something called Over the Wire. I'll bring it up on my computer here and share it with you. I've got a million screens going on here. But we're going to do a very simple, basic capture the flag. Capture the flag is normally done within the cyber community, and it's essentially a scavenger hunt. This program it's for people who are very new to the command line, and it's an easy way to practice the commands, these simple basic commands, and have learn to do capture the flag at the same time. So we will be starting that next week. And so until the next meeting, we want you to practice building these files, moving through your directories, figuring out, okay, where am I at? What's my path? How do I list all of these things? And then next week we will start with over the wire and have some fun with it. And we'll work together on these levels because there's different levels, they get harder. You'll be able to practice all of that on your free time. And we'll walk you through it and have some fun.
So yeah, spend the next week getting your system set up if it's not a Mac. And then play around
We
with
won't hold that
everything
against you, we
did today.
promise. But yeah, no, if there's any questions, ask us on Slack, ask us in the Facebook group. And we're all, we all have crazy busy schedules, and I'm sure we'll be able just to set up a Zoom and get some of the stuff set up for you. And so you can learn to do capture the flag stuff. And, maybe as a group at some point we can get together as a team and do some of the other ones that are actually, all half day, and then we can all work together and win prizes and stuff like that. So
we got some questions here real quick in the chat.
let's see. Yeah, Melissa asks, I have a Mac. Do the instructions work for Mac too? The command line instructions, is that what you're asking? I think that's what you're asking. And Danielle, if you scroll up in the chat, I did put an invitation for it. I can probably put it back in there. Let me see.
Melissa, the Mac instructions are, you just open terminal. There's no downloading, there's no installing anything. That's why it's stupid simple. That's why we love Macs. It's already installed for you. You don't have to do anything. So for you on your Mac, you just have to access terminal, and in your Spotlight search, just type in terminal and you could bring it up. You might have missed it. I don't know what time you joined in, but
I think she joined after.
Yeah, Melissa, that was how to do Windows installation. If you have a Mac, you just open terminal.
Yeah, you don't have to install anything.
Yeah, like I'll show you real quick. I think you might have missed it. So yes. So right here in your, gosh, I have so much stuff, so many windows. Close this, close it, close it. Right here in your Spotlight, type in terminal, and it's that one. And then it'll just pop up. And for Macs are already pre-installed and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to download, you don't have to install. It's just there always.
Although they switched to ZSH because Bash is actually going the way of the
That
better.
is true.
But that's a completely different story for another day.
And that's something totally different.
Liars. I know they're no longer updating it. No longer updating Bash.
That made me really sad. It really messed up my system. I had to like redo everything. I was like,
yeah, I got to figure out how to redo my command line because I got a prettier on there. I've got my ZSH.
I save all of my bash prompts into something. Do you know that? I save all my bash prompts because when they do that, when they do things like that, upgrade systems and they get rid of everything, I'm like, oh, well, fine then. I just copy it all over.
Danielle, did you figure out how to get into Slack? Awesome. You can always message me. I got you.